How you doing? Lex from Augie's Montreal Deli here in Berkeley, California, and we are going to show folks how to slice up one of our Montreal style smoked meat briskets. As you can see, whole brisket in there steaming right now. And how we know that that's ready, so go ahead and poke the fork in there, and if it goes in and out real easily, you know that the brisket's been steaming for long enough, probably about an hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on your steaming process. But the main thing is that fork going in and out real easily, kind of got a buttery texture to it. So that's when we're still cooking up. And now we are going to show you how we slice briskets here and how you can slice it in your shop or at home if you need to. So here's one that we've already cut, so we can kind of show you how the grains work. You're trying to cut against the grain. So as you can see right here, we're cutting against the grain. You can see how that muscle looks and how that beef brisket looks when it's coming out cut. We try to cut into kind of a diamond shape so that the moisture is going to stay in the center of the brisket. So instead of cutting from one side to the other, we're going to try to cut around the brisket so that we're against the grain all the time. You can see we're against the grain here on the what's called the flat or the leaner side of the brisket, and then we're also against the grain here on the point or the fattier side of the brisket. You can see kind of how that muscle looks so that you know that you're cutting it the right way, and that's the best way to do it. So now we're going to slice up a little bit. Make sure you get yourself a nice thick knife that's extremely sharp. You should always be honing your knife, always sharpening your knife. After maybe like 10 sandwiches or so, always good to get a nice, good edge on that knife so that you make sure that you're getting these good slices. Another nice thing about using a thicker knife is when you're cutting, the meat won't fall apart. If you had a knife that was half as long, the slice of the meat might fall over and break in half. We don't want that. So we're gonna go ahead and start slicing up that brisket. You can see we're going against the grain here. We're going against the grain over on this side as well. Why don't I have you come over on this side, Sandra, since I'm a lefty, southpaw trying to cut meat. Basically, we're going to use the fork as something to set up our slices. We want them as thin as possible, obviously cutting against the grain. So we're just going to sit there and slice them off, get some from this lean part, right? We call this, again, this is called the flat. Look at all that nice fat right there, nice moisture there in the brisket. So we're going to get some slices going off of that side, and we continue to go onto the other side here to make sure that we're, again, cutting in this kind of diamond shape. We're going to have two triangles right there. So there's some of our lean meat right there. Then what we're going to do is go switch the brisket around, get onto where the fatty section of the brisket is. You see that nice marbling there? You see that nice fat that's all congealed there? Another thing that we do here at Augie's when you're preparing your sandwiches, wherever, is we like to tenderize the fat a little bit. So that fat is where all that flavor is. So what we'll do is we'll give it a nice smack, kind of change the texture a little bit, make it nice and buttery, throw that on top of there. Again, continue to slice as thin as possible, using that fork as our guide to guide us along the brisket, making sure we're constantly cutting against the grain. Get a little bit more of that fat, smack it up, come in a little bit closer right there. You can see how it's kind of breaking down nicely, and you can see all that moisture coming out of there. That is where the flavor is in your Montreal smoked meat brisket. Cut a little bit more off of this corner. Again, as you can see, we're making these points. We're going against the grain. We've got a kind of a tip here, triangle shape there. And we've got a triangle shape here, and you'll kind of continue to cut around the brisket as you go. Go ahead and tenderize that meat a little bit. Grab it on your fork. Go ahead and throw it up on your sandwich there. Take some of these nice ends right there with all the flavor, slap it on there. Take your sandwich, get your bread on top. Now another thing, when we're slicing the bread, you want to saw through the piece of bread and then push through the meat. So we're going to go a nice little saw there, push through that meat, grab ourselves a plate, pop that sandwich on, take a look at that. Take a look at how good that looks right there in the middle there. Nice mix. We've got some of everything cut against the grain. You got some of that nice fat, some of that nice lean meat. That's how you do it. That's how we do it here at Augie's. That's how we suggest that you guys do it at your restaurant, at home, wherever you may be. If you get one of these full briskets, that's kind of the way to handle it. So, merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. We appreciate your business. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to shoot us an email, augiesmontrealdeli.com. That's AUGIESMONTREALDELI @gmail.com, and we'd be glad to help you out. Cheers. Bon appetit.